All right, so moving on to the final segment, we're going to pivot here to the world of football inside the NFL world. And I'll be sharing my list of any NFL players that I believe had the best season debuts on their new respective teams. So these are the following players I think had a strong first impression and a big impact on their new teams and their first seasons with those respective teams. So I have a good amount of players on this list, really good all-time greats and some Hall of Fame players on this list. So let's start off with Peyton Manning, his first year with the Denver Broncos in 2012. Now, Peyton Manning coming to town to Denver 2012 was something new to see in the NFL world because Peyton Manning spent all of his NFL career up until that point with the Indianapolis Colts being the first overall pick in the 1998 NFL draft. And the Colts ended up releasing him. Now, there was a lot of good years that Peyton Manning had with the Indianapolis Colts, winning MVP awards, helped the Colts win a Super Bowl, helped the Colts get to two respective Super Bowls and a lot of AFC title games with his time spent with the Indianapolis Colts. But it all came to an end when they released him during the 2012 NFL free agency period. And Peyton Manning had an impressive first year with the Denver Broncos. I mean, this was the first year that he took over since Tim Tebow. They ran Tim Tebow out of town to get their new shining toy in Peyton Manning, and arguably so. But Peyton Manning's first year with the Broncos, he had over 4,000 yards passing, 37 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, helped the Broncos get the number one seed in the AFC, just ran into a Baltimore Ravens problem. With him and Joe Flacco having that incredible shootout game in a divisional round, it still stands the test of time to me as one of the best football games I've ever seen in my life. That 2012-2013 divisional round playoff game. But really good first impression that he had with the Broncos, and then eventually retired as a Bronco and helped them win a Super Bowl in his final year in the NFL. And next would be Tom Brady's first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tom Brady had a really good first impression with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers his first year there in 2020, because his first year there, he went on to win a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, you go back to 2019, the 2019-2020 wild card matchup where the Patriots fell to the Tennessee Titans, and which would be Tom Brady's final game as a New England Patriot. Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick thought it was best to go in a different direction for the franchise. They did not re-sign Tom Brady. Tom Brady signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in NFL free agency, and he proved that he was a big reason why the Patriots had one of the best dynasties in NFL history by going to Tampa, helping Tampa Bay win their first Super Bowl since 2003, and became the first NFL team to play at home in a Super Bowl game. So that year, Tom Brady elevated this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. He played with some all-time greats and Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, and Antonio Brown. But the run that Tom Brady went on in that playoffs that year, he had all road games until the Super Bowl. He dethroned Drew Brees in the second round, defeated Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau Field in the NFC Championship game, and defeated Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. You defeated three all-time greats in your first year with your new team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If that's not impressive to you guys, I don't know what is. And Tom Brady ended up winning his 7th Super Bowl. Again, Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any NFL franchise in NFL history. And we're talking about some historic franchises like the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New England Patriots, my team, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady has 7 rings. If that's not the all-time great to you guys, I don't know what is. But that year just solidified it even more with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another player, Matthew Stafford's first year with the Los Angeles Rams in 2021. Now, after a crazy offseason swap at the quarterback positions in a trade that had Jared Goff go to the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford come to the Los Angeles Rams, there were some first-round picks in that trade as well. But Matthew Stafford's first year with the Rams, you don't get a much stronger impression than this, winning a Super Bowl and helping the Rams win their first Super Bowl since 2000. And Matthew Stafford, don't get me wrong, had some really good years with the Detroit Lions. He was just a part of some horrible teams out there in Detroit and did the best he could to elevate that team. But the team, him and Calvin Johnson can only did so much. But Matthew Stafford all along has been one of the best fourth quarter quarterbacks or clutch performers in this generation of quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford's talent was always there, but he just needed to be put on a good team. And that's what happened to Matthew Stafford in 2021. He was part of a stacked Los Angeles Rams team, helped Cooper Kupp become a Triple Crown winner in 2021, leading the league in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, receiving catches. I mean, that duo was legendary, and Matthew Stafford had a good playoff run that year, defeating Tom Brady in the divisional round on the road, defeated a really good San Francisco 49ers team in the NFC Championship, and defeated Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and basically had a game-sealing drive where him and the Rams offense went down the field and scored. And that was when Odell Beckham even tore his ACL in the game. So the way how Matthew Stafford balled out in 2021 has to be one of the best first-year impressions that he had on the team in NFL history based off of what he did. And he also became the second quarterback in NFL history to have a home game for the Super Bowl. If that's not impressive for you guys, I don't know what is. Next player would be Brett Favre with the Minnesota Vikings in 2009. Now, this is actually pretty crazy because just when everybody thought Brett Favre was actually done again, because Brett Favre retired twice before the third and final time in 2010, 2011, but the second time that he retired, being one and done with the New York Jets, everybody thought he was done when he had 22 passing touchdowns, 22 interceptions. Everybody thought it was a wrap and his career was over. Until later on in 2009, he signed with the Minnesota Vikings and played a part of that really good Vikings team that was pretty loaded with talent. I mean, you had Adrian Peterson in the backfield. You had Percy Harvin, Jared Allen on the defensive side of the ball. But Brett Favre had a pretty good year. 4,000 yards plus passing, 32 passing touchdowns. And he even took the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game that year. And if it really wasn't for that Saints defense, as good as they were, or the bounty hunters, we possibly could have seen a Peyton Manning versus Brett Favre Super Bowl in the 2009-2010 postseason. But Brett Favre after that went down and never was the same and retired a year or so later for the third and final time. But that first year impression that he had on Minnesota Vikings was pretty remarkable and pretty incredible, being that deep into his NFL career, still proving that he still had it. This next one, it doesn't get much better than this. Saquon Barkley season with the Philadelphia Eagles this previous NFL season. Now, I think this had to go down as one of the most coldest moves in NFL free agency because the New York Giants really had one of the most silliest decisions ever by giving Daniel Jones the bag over Saquon Barkley, your best offensive player. And the Giants let Saquon Barkley walk in free agency, and you let him walk and sign with your biggest divisional rival and the Philadelphia Eagles, and Saquon Barkley helps the Eagles win a Super Bowl his first year there in Philadelphia. Now, don't get me wrong, Saquon Barkley had an incredible season with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, it was a match made in heaven. Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the league, playing behind the best offensive line in the league with Jalen Hurts that plays in an RPO system. Oh my gosh, that was a layup for the Eagles to have a really good run. And they went all the way to the Super Bowl. But Saquon had a remarkable year, electrifying at the running back position, had over 2,000 rushing yards, could have easily broken the all-time record in the season for the most rushing yards. But the Eagles sat him out the week 18. But he had over 2,000 rushing yards, had a lot of home run hit runs, and had that reverse hurdle. I've never seen that in my life, and I don't think we could see that again next season by an NFL player unless it's Saquon Barkley. But a reverse hurdle is insane. And he hit that thing clean as a whistle. But yeah, Saquon winning his first Super Bowl with the Eagles, being a part of his first NFL well, I should say first NFL NFC Championship game and playing in his first Super Bowl. Saquon had a lot to do with the Eagles' success this year, and they went on to win their second Super Bowl in franchise history. And last but not least would have to be Marshall Faulk's first year with the Los Angeles Rams. Well, at the time, the St. Louis Rams, but the Rams nonetheless in 1999. Now, after Marshall Faulk left the Indianapolis Colts in 1998, he joined the Rams in 1999 and was a part of one of the greatest offenses of all time called the Greatest Show on Turf. That legendary offense with Kurt Warner at the quarterback position, Marshall Faulk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt at wide receiver. I mean, this was just an unstoppable team offensively. And I feel like they should have won more than just one Super Bowl together. But Marshall Faulk had a strong impact in 1999. I had over 1,300 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns total, and helped the Rams win their first Super Bowl in franchise history in the 1999-2000 postseason. But that was an impact because without Marshall Faulk, they possibly wouldn't have won the Super Bowl that year. So those are the NFL players I do believe had a strong impact on their first year with their new respective NFL teams. That is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.